LoreWarrior Armour, the Enyo Strike Tank. Overview. The Enyo is a production model strike tank based on a lightweight XL engine, another Hell's Horses equipment urged by Khan Malabai Fletcher and furthered by Khan James Cobb. Intended to take advantage of extra-light engine technology the way many clan BattleMechs and aerospace fighters do, the Enyo is a lackluster concept vehicle. Fletcher ordered the Enyo's design after the successful field trials of several XL refit Mars assault vehicles, which gained mobility and thus survivability, while sacrificing little in the way of armour and armament. Declaring that the use of extra lights would be best served by lighter strike tanks for use in cavalry and strike clusters, Fletcher then tasked the engineers with developing a production line main battle tank in the medium weight class. The design, Fletcher decreed, must be capable of outmanoeuvring the majority of clan-built armour units and must keep pace with the BattleMech forces that it should be supporting. The prototype Enyos were just undergoing trials, overseen by then Star Colonel James Cobb, when Fletcher's disastrous war against the Ghost Bears would lead to ejection of the Hell's Horses from the Inner Sphere and the Mad Khan's subsequent removal by Cobb. Though such circumstances could have meant the death of the Enyo project, Cobb allowed it to resume, conceding to at least some logic in Fletcher's designs. Capabilities. Powered by a 330 rated extra-light engine, the Enyo can attain the speed and mobility of most medium-weight BattleMechs. It also packs heavy firepower and armour that can't be matched at such a performance curve. Comparatively speaking, the engine would provide better performance in a hovercraft or wheeled combat vehicle. That the Enyo uses tracks, however, allows it to traverse near any terrain. Unwilling to waste any of the precious tonnage saved in using the lighter engine, engineers then fitted the Enyo with a single large pulse laser for its primary weapon system, maximising punch and economy of mass. 3 ammo-efficient Streak 6 packs back up this primary weapon, with 2 fixed forward and the third mounted on the turret with the laser. Protected by more than 7 tons of ferrofibrous armour and case, the Enyo is tough to kill, able to weather even a Gauss slug or two before it has to make hasty withdrawal from battle. Deployment. Full production of it began in 3063 at the Horse's main armoured vehicle facility on Kirin. The majority of these new tanks have appeared in the ranks of the depleted Gamma Galaxy and the 21st Mechanized Assault Cluster, which have suffered losses in the recent fighting against the Ghost Bears. Several other frontline cavalry and strike clusters have also received Enyos, where they replace older designs of Starleague vintage. So the Enyo is 55 tons, tracked, with a Type 330 extra-light engine. It has a cruise of 65 and a flank of 97 kph. Its armour is compound VM20 ferrofibrous, where armament is a single Series 44H large pulse laser, 3 Type 6 Bravo Streak SRM 6-packs, 2 Series 9 machine guns, manufactured by Kirin Armory Plant 4, also known as CAP4. Its communication system is Build 1750/4 Tacticom, and its targeting and tracking is the Series XLII TLS. Translation is text that's very tiny on the screen, but it has a cruise of 6 and a flank of 9 with 10 heatsinks required. It has 30 points of armour on the front, 29 on the sides, 29 on the rear, and 27 on the turret. The large pulse laser is obviously located in the turret with the Streak 6, 2 more mounted in the front, with 45 shots in total split between all 3 launchers. It has 2 machine guns, 1 left and 1 right, with 100 rounds split between them. First impressions, it's reminiscent of things like the Scorpion tank from Halo. You know, these like tanks have like a massive rear sort of centered, rear-mounted turret essentially that sort of arc up. So it gives it this great field of fire and the ability to sort of go hull down and keep the turret peeking over. Don't know if I like it though. It's a weird mishmash of all kinds of different things. The streak launchers are an interesting visual style as well. I guess the idea is supposed to be they're like tubes that pop open and the missiles fly out, and then I guess the loading system, the cover goes back on, and then it loads the next set of missiles inside. You can see all the launchers though, at least, which is better than some artwork where you can't see the weapon systems. You go like, what the hell is the other weapon? You see the 2 little machine guns on either side as well. More vehicles, it makes sense for them to have these kind of all-round defense kind of setups, especially for infantry assault. A lot of armor in BattleTech for a long time was obviously written from the point of view of it still being a more traditional sort of earth-based warfare, front-mounted machine guns, coaxial machine guns in the turret, but no idea of this kind of all-round defense of being able to have automated systems, for instance, that can target and track infantry that might be approaching from a blind spot. So I think more and more vehicles start to do that later on. It's a nice touch. It makes sense as well, especially when you think about the size of some of these vehicles, because these would dwarf some real-life vehicles, because just the sheer size of the armament and that kind of thing would necessitate pretty large vehicles. These are the kind of things that they're not subtle by any stretch. I mean, this is only 55 ton, and this thing looks absolutely gigantic. Just the turret alone looks like a massive piece of metal. It's a tank that I visually don't like, but it's a tank that is very, very flexible. If you were using this against players, it's got enough pace that it can get that large pulse laser into range fairly quickly, a turn or so, before it starts firing. And obviously with the ability to add +2 to hit roll with pulse weaponry, that makes that really fucking deadly. And attacking it front on with all of its streak launchers that's a risk. Definitely makes that quite a deadly vehicle. And I mean, depending on the lance or the star of vehicles, that could be a game changer. It could make it a primary target immediately, just because it's got such a fucking deadly weapon system. It's a nasty combination. Obviously, the XL engine is its biggest drawback. Obviously, if it does suffer an engine hit, it's pretty much out of the fight. And yeah, obviously, it's also got ammunition stocked inside it as well, which is all located in the body. So if it does go internal from that, the armor is good though. 30 and 29 around the body. The sides and rear having 29 hit points is pretty fucking good. That makes it very difficult to just punch straight through. I mean, unless it's going up against obviously heavy mechs or heavy armor, it's going to be in the fight for a couple of turns. Yeah, that's a dicey prospect. Like tanks, the more you see about armored vehicles and Battletech, the more you start to realize, really, tanks are just so much better in many respects, just because they're probably cheaper by a long margin, because most of them don't need XL engines and that kind of thing. So a lot of them can run ICE engines. So making them cheaper, they're probably faster to produce in universe. They carry just as deadly amount of weaponry past a certain weight bracket, and their maneuverability is pretty good. And you start to wonder, like, what's the benefit of BattleMechs again, other than they look cool? But yeah, you could easily ruin a player's day if you just had, especially if you're using like battle value system, that kind of thing for the points. You could probably draw up a force entirely of armor that would be just as effective, if not more so, against a player who's all entirely BattleMechs. So yeah, I guess BattleMechs are more versatile, I guess, compared to armored vehicles. There's a give and take. I'm not saying remove BattleMechs. I'm not turning against BattleMechs. You start to see the viability of some tanks, but I guess that's the beauty of it. It's all down to the dice in the end. But I've rambled on enough. We've still got more clan vehicles to go through in this batch recording, so we'll be on to the next one. Until then, have a good week, everybody. Thanks for listening, as always, and I will catch you on the next one. Bye-bye.